Hello and welcome to another edition of Confidently Speaking with D.O.C. I am your host, David Doc Shirey, author of the book, Rare Confidence, Strategies and Inspiration to Strengthen Your Belief that you can achieve anything. Listen, I promised you before this show started that there were going to be no subjects that I was going to avoid. And tonight we're talking race in America, a conversation amongst friends. And before I introduce my good friend and our guest for tonight, who I think you're absolutely going to love, there's a couple points that I want to make about tonight's show and the subject at hand. You know, America has to stop being afraid to talk about race. And we have to start actively being anti-racist. It reminds me of the Herb Brooks movie Miracle, where the head coach of the U.S. Olympic hockey team said, stop not talking about race. That time is over. The time to talk about the inequality in America is right now. And one of the issues has always been, I think, always hear that we need to talk about differences and ways that we can make things better. And I think one of the challenges has always been that, I can speak for nobody but myself. And I don't ever intend to speak for any group of people or persons other than D.O.C. But I can tell you, even me, and I say even me because I tend to be a little more comfortable in certain situations than some people because of my life experiences. There are times where it can be awkward and we can be worried or concerned what comes out of our mouth. Now, I urge everybody to go out and develop relationships with people that don't look just like you. The more people that you interact with and develop friendships and meaningful relationships with that are people that don't look like you, that way, if something awkward comes out of your mouth, they'll know what's in your heart and not some ridiculousness that you said that didn't sound right, that you didn't mean. We can't be afraid anymore to have these discussions. We just can't. One of my heroes is Pittsburgh Pirate icon, legend, Roberto Clemente, the great one. Roberto gave his life trying to help others in a plane crash to earthquake-ravaged Nicaragua. And many years before that, Roberto said, anytime you have an opportunity to make a difference in this world and you don't, then you are wasting your time on earth. And you know what, Roberto? I couldn't have said it better myself. Now that I have this platform, if I didn't do what I could do to help get a message out that we have a problem, let's talk about it. Let's explore what's going on and see if there are ways that we can make the world a better place. And really, that's what tonight's show is all about. My guest tonight, man, I absolutely love Daryl. He's one of my best friends in the world. Daryl Reid. Let's tell you a little bit about Daryl so that you have an understanding as to who Daryl is and where Daryl comes from and his perspective on things. Daryl grew up in a predominantly Black neighborhood in Columbus, Ohio, where he still lives. Daryl went to an all-white Catholic high school where he played basketball. Daryl and I met as freshmen at Ohio University. And get this, Daryl is currently a chef in a nursing home. Daryl's essential, and we're going to talk a little bit about that too. He's one of my favorite people in the entire world. Let's bring him on board here. Daryl Reid, what's up, big dude?
What's up, my man?
Oh, man.
The D.O.C. right here with
listen,
you.
Before we go any further, Daryl, I want to show a video clip. I somehow managed to find actual video of the last time you and I saw each other. So
okay.
A second. All right, so that was me and Daryl the last time we saw each other, and
that wasn't the last time. That wasn't the last time.
that was a couple years ago, though. But, Daryl, whenever I think back to you and I wish we had more pictures in college. Unfortunately, there weren't smartphones back then. But I do have.
We'd have a ton of them if we did.
We would have a ton of them, man. I do have a couple pictures of me and you, and I just want to share this with our audience because
here we go.
There's a theme in some of these pictures. I'm going to come back to this one, but no matter what, we always had humongous smiles on our face because we just have always had the greatest time with one another. But one of the reasons why it looks like I'm pretending to punch you in some of these pictures is because you were always making fun of me. I don't know if you're making. This picture right here. Look at that grin you got going on. I'm sure Now it wouldn't have worked out well for me if I had actually hit you. But,
no, I don't think so.
But I think part of the problem was you were always making fun of my dancing. Was that it?
Wow, that's the worst thing in the world. You're dangerous. You're dangerous when you dance, man. I don't think you should be allowed to dance at all. You're horrible. You know what? I try to teach you to dance so many times. You know what I mean? We break it down to the 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's like you can't. It's like you can't even count. It's like you can't even count on beat. You're horrible, man. But it's all good.
Because you would make it really, really simple for me. Just to give everybody some perspective on how we met. Tiffin Hall, Ohio University. You were at the very end of the hall. Now, I had a roommate, great friend of mine, Steve Cohen. We had a double. You were at the very end of the hall. Now, just to paint the picture, you're a big dude, and you had a little teeny room, but you had a single. You were by yourself, right?
And, yep, single room.
Yeah, and I used to spend hours and hours and hours in your room listening to music, drinking beer. And, when I think back to the early days of our friendship, because we became friends like instantaneously.
Immediately.
When I think back to the early days, we laughed for hours and hours and hours.
Man, outrageous. Outrageous.
And like, if I remember correctly, we were making fun of each other the whole time. We were
all laughing. At all times. Yeah. At all times.
It wasn't like it was racial or anti-Semitic.
No, hell no.
But we made fun of our differences because they were between me and you, man. There was a lot there to laugh about.
Yeah, there was, and it was comfortable. You know what I mean? It's a matter of respect. You know what I mean? I always respected you. We walked in the door. I never forget. You came sophomore.
No, I came winter quarter freshman year.
Okay. Yeah, winter quarter. I'm sorry. But it's hilarious. I'm walking down the hall, hearing Run DMC playing down around the corner. I'm like, who the hell? I walk down around the corner, and there's this white boy sitting there. What's up? Okay, how you doing? And I sit in and it wasn't a game. My man, he kept playing. He couldn't stand the music the other people were listening to. Then we'd sit around and we'd laugh and we got introduced to some songs at the same time. I remember Houdini, Friends. We sang Friends like it was it was our anthem. We would sit around like it was our anthem and sing the hell out that song.
I promised last episode I wouldn't sing anymore, so I'm not going to do that. Hey, do you remember?
Don't dance either. Don't dance. Listen, don't stand up and dance.
Before we get into some heavy business here, which we're about to get into, do you remember when you took me home for the weekend, spring semester that year?
Man, you're incredible. We got there and went to a party.
Wait a minute. Before we went to the party, we had dinner at your house.
Oh, right.
Long Island iced teas.
Yeah, that loosened it up a little bit there. Yeah, we chilled. It was good. Our families. It's like you're part of the family as soon as you hit the spot. You know what I mean? And then we went out and kicked it. And I remember I had to go someplace real quick. I was like, "Come on, man, let's go." You're like, "Nah, I'll stay here." I'm like, "Dude, you don't know where you are. You ain't trying to mess with these dudes. You ain't trying to mess with these folks. I'll be all right." Well, you're a grown man. And I'm gonna let you do it. And if you're gonna learn a lesson, you're gonna learn it on your own. So I come back. I'm there. Doc sitting on a car. Got 3 girls around him. Everybody's passing them beers. It's like the life of the party. You know what I'm saying? And it's hilarious because it's just like you slid right in. And and it wasn't fake. It wasn't fake. People were like, what the hell? Nah, it was not fake. You just fit right in, like that's where you're supposed to be.
And I remember,
and some of them people I didn't even feel comfortable with. I didn't even know these people. I don't know them.
I remember you came home with me one weekend, and we went out on my dad's boat. Before I tell you, we came home, and you and my dad, Fred.
Oh man, Fred was the man. Fred was the man.
Was a big dude. He was like 6'4", 230. You walk in the door, and it's the first time you guys met, and my dad, Fred, says, "What you got in the bag, Daryl?"
What you got in your bag there, man?
None of your damn business, Fred.
I carried a handbag. Most men didn't carry a purse or handbag. A Merce. You know what I'm saying? I come to Pittsburgh with a Merce. Fred checked me immediately.
and then we went out on his boat. Remember?
Man, I'm the biggest thing on the boat. So I sat on the hood. I sat on the front. The tip. What's that called? The starboard? Is that what it is?
You got me.
But I sat on the front because I was the biggest thing. I had to weigh the front down. There's so many people, and I'm looking like a big hood ornament riding around Pittsburgh. Was the Allegheny in a orange polo shirt on the hood of these white people's boats.
Now, listen. Before we start talking about some issues of the day, one last story that just cracked me up was you somehow bullied me into taking a map reading class with you and all these ROTC people, right? And I remember you telling me, you were like, listen, it's one night a week for a couple hours, and then at the end, we got to go out in the woods and follow some map. It's no big deal. Yeah, no big deal.
Now, the bully part, I don't know. We found out there was a trip to D.C., and that was the sole to take classes. It's amazing to take classes with the sole motivating factor is to go to DC just to get out of OU. We took this class. Oh my God, we couldn't understand anything. We weren't meant to be military people. They took us out on a map reading. We had to read the map to get to the finish line, and a professor or sergeant major, whatever, he told us it was going to be a casual walk. So yeah, I put on my basketball shoes. I got my ball. I got my box. We're going to go on this casual walk. We get there and it's mountain terrain. There's nothing casual about it, man. Unbelievable. And then so I got a basketball and a radio in my good basketball shoes, and we're tromping in the mud. Man. And then we come to this hill, and we're supposed to collect these flags, and we come to this hill, and at the top of the hill, there's this flag. And we're like, there's no way we're getting that flag. And then Doc saw a walking, what we call those walking bugs, a walking stick. And man, there's nobody more terrified than bugs than Doc. When he saw that thing, he ran up that hill and grabbed that flag like it wasn't nothing.
I tell you what, Daryl, those were great times. I just remember us being out in the woods and we were lost. You were like, yeah, we're gonna go run ball afterward, and we're stuck out there for 3 hours. We're lost, and
I don't remember how we got back. I think the bus left us. I don't even know how we got back.
I don't know. All right,
crazy times, crazy.
Let's get into it, Daryl. We live in a crazy world right now. There's a lot going on, and one of the things I wanted to bring up right away, because we hear this phrase all the time, is white privilege, right? White privilege.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, I hear white people, when they hear that phrase, white privilege, there's a lot of people say, I don't want to hear about my white privilege. Nobody gave me anything. I worked for everything I had. And I kind of get the feeling like those folks are missing the point. It's not really something for a white person to get defensive about, but rather to just understand that if this thing called life was a race and it was on a football field of 100 yards, compared to black people, we're already at the 30-yard line when you're still at the goal line getting started.
At least at 30. You know what I'm saying? Man. What I think is, I think people don't really realize, and it's I don't, like I said, like you said at the beginning. I'm gonna say the same thing. It's my point of view. You know what I mean? I'm not representative of the black race. I'm not representative of anybody but me. You know what I'm saying? There's nobody that lived my experiences that lived the way I do or what I did like I did. So that's me. That's what makes me me. That's what makes you you. That's what make us respect each other from go. You know? So
No doubt.
I
Hey,
don't know.
listen, I just want
People
to
don't
mention to
realize
everybody.
people don't
Go ahead.
realize that they have a foot ahead. They have a foot up. You know, and a lot of times because it is already there, you don't really realize it. You don't realize how much a step up you have. You know, I went to St. Charles in Columbus, and you know it's a great school. Got made of fun of forever, and even when I was a freshman and whenever when I was there, I never realized what a foot up that was. You know what I'm saying? It was a foot up. I'm a foot up ahead of a lot of people, and I never really realized it until I got to be this age, and I look back and see what education has done for me, and how uh, learn how to deal with different people in a diverse way. How that brings you forward. You know.
I do. I do. I want to mention to everybody watching, please comment on Facebook and YouTube Live. And if anybody out there wants to actually join the broadcast, we're going to try this tonight. At the bottom of the screen right now, there is a link. You're going to have to type that into a browser, and I will see that you're in the studio, and I may put you on the air. So please, in order for this show to work the way it's
Come
supposed to,
talk to me.
as we move forward, either comment and ask questions for Daryl and I, or literally come and join the show. So, Daryl, I want to show a video, okay?
Okay.
I don't know. Did you see the video of about 10 days ago, the woman who was in Central Park? I want to show this video, and then I want to talk about it. So
Okay. Yeah.
hang tight real quick with me here.
Would you please stop? Sir, I'm asking you to stop.
Please don't come close to me.
Sir, I'm asking you to stop recording me.
Please don't come close to me.
Please take your phone off.
Please don't come close to
And
me.
I'm taking a picture and calling the cops.
Please call the cops. Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African American man threatening my life.
Please tell them whatever you like.
Excuse me? I'm sorry, I'm in the Ramble, and there is a man, African American, he has a bicycle helmet. He is recording me and threatening me and my dog. There is an African American man, I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog. And my... I'm sorry, I can't hear you either. I'm being threatened by a man in the Ramble. Please send the cops immediately. I'm in Central Park in the Ramble. I don't know.
Thank you.
So she basically weaponized her white privilege.
Right, definitely. You know, first of all, you got to know she was mentally ill. There was something wrong with her. I mean, I understand probably getting embarrassed and put on the spot in the situation, but that's extreme and that's crazy as hell. I mean, you know, but I'm not saying that to say that doesn't happen all the time, you know, and but that's just ill. You know what I mean? She's sick in the head. You see how she was torturing that dog. I'm a dog person, man. I saw that more than anything else in the video. That she's choking the hell out this dog. That shows that she's sick in the head, you know. And a lot of people, they're sick. They're sick in the head, you know. And that's just really it.
So I think a day or two after that, Van Jones on CNN, who I really respect, he has some great insight into what's going on in the world. Van Jones came on, and I'm going to play this clip in a minute. But Van Jones basically made the point that, and he was really talking to fellow African Americans, and he said, you know, it's not the obvious racist that we need to be worried about. Definitely. It's this person. And I'm going to play that clip, and then I want to get.
It's not the racist white person who's in the Ku Klux Klan that we have to worry about. It's the white liberal Hillary Clinton supporter walking her dog in Central Park who would tell you right now, people like that, oh, I don't see race Race is no big deal to me. I see us all as the same. I give to charities. But the minute she sees a black man who she does not respect, or who she has a slight thought against, she weaponized race like she had been trained by the Aryan Nation. A Klans member could not have been better trained to pick up the police and pick up her phone and tell the police it's a black man, African-American man, come get him. So even the most liberal, well-intentioned white person has a virus in his or her brain that can be activated at an instant. And
your thoughts?
We all have a virus in our brain that's going to get us out of anywhere that we're going to get in. I'm not trying to make her out to be a good guy by no means, but you know what? You put people in the spot and they want to get out of what they're in, they'll get out of it, and they'll use whatever they have. I'm not saying that she's not a racist. I'm not saying anything like that, but I do believe that if you back people up in the corner, they're going to use whatever they can. Women that scream rape when things aren't going their way. And maybe we're not. Maybe I don't want to act like I'm taking the race onus off it. But once again, when I look at that, she's crazy. She's crazy. She's way out of.
So let me ask you this. No, let me ask you this. I think what Van Jones was trying to say was, forget about her.
Right.
From his perspective, it's really not the people that are obvious racists. It's not the people on Facebook that some people see that are saying things that you got to block them because they're crazy, right? But it's people that maybe, like he said, give to charities and try to virtue signal like they're doing all the right things, but yet when they are fearful for whatever reason, they can't help it and they go right there.
But that's what I'm saying. Everybody does that. You know what I mean? We've seen I'm just being real. You know what I mean? It's just like the Browns and the Steelers.
What comparison would that be, Big D? I don't know.
Well, Myles Garrett. I mean,
yeah. Well, yeah. You want to go there?
He's in trouble. He's in trouble. So what's he pull out the race card? I'm gonna pull that out on you. You know what I mean? And that's, I don't know, man. I mean, I people do things to save themselves, And
right, so let's look at this quote. This is a quote from the head coach of the Denver Broncos. Yesterday he came out and he said, Vic Fangio, he said that racism and discrimination are not prevalent in the National Football League. He actually said this. And my question is, how the hell would you know, white dude?
Right. He's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? That's ridiculous. It's said things to fit for him. You know what I mean? And that's horrible. I mean, I don't see how we can't see it. I don't see how you can't see it. I don't see how you can't see racial discrimination places. I don't see how you can't see it.
It's really not his place to say that, though, right?
Right. No, by no means. By no means.
All right, so I want to show you another clip. And I don't know if this is white privilege. I don't know what this is, but this drives me nuts, too. So this next clip I'm going to show you is a young lady, after a night of looting, her and her boyfriend happened across a business owner that is boarding up his window. And she asks the business owner, I have to explain this because it's not very clear on the video. It will be once I explain it. She asks the business owner, can I take a picture with you? Let me hold your drill and pretend like I'm drilling this board in. My boyfriend's going to take a picture. It'll take 2 seconds. Afterwards, she gives the man the drill back. She thanks him. She goes to jump in her boyfriend's Mercedes. She yells some nonsense about boyfriends of Instagram, hashtag BLM, as if she's part of the movement. And all she wants is trying to.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Lol. Boyfriends of Instagram. Good job, guys. BLM.
Wait, what is that? Have you ever seen anything more ridiculous?
That's just ridiculous. Was that Kourtney Kardashian? It looks
No,
like it.
no, I don't know. I don't know.
No, I'm
But
just saying. It's just, man, people. It's people are so self-centered and circled around themselves so much. You know what I mean?
all
Uh,
right, I got one more example of white privilege, and I think this white dude hits it on the nose here.
okay.
George Floyd. Mark McCoy tweets out, George Floyd and I were both arrested for allegedly spending a counterfeit $20 bill. For George Floyd, a man my age with 2 kids, it was a death sentence. For me, it's the stories I sometimes tell at parties. That, my friends, is white privilege. I
Exactly.
mean,
Exactly. I
sometimes
mean, I mean, I think it's like the ignorance. I don't know. It's hard to say. That's crazy, but that's straight white privilege. You know what I'm saying? He can get away with something it's fine, but George, he
right.
died
And I
over it.
think
You know what I mean?
I think that tweet is really the outcome of white privilege in a nutshell. So for people who don't think, people who hear that term and they get offended, like, oh, nobody gave me nothing, I wasn't privileged. I think just they need to recognize that in our society, you are just from the color of your skin.
And that's walking in the door. You can I can have the greatest education in the world, but I walk in the door with a white guy, and automatically he might get a foot up, due to just the appearance of walking in the door. Now you could say in the same circumstance, I could walk in the door and it could be a foot up for me as a black person. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this
I
whole
do know.
here's the thing. Here's what kills me. This is all what kills me. I've seen you get as much sun, and you're as dark as I am. You know what I mean? I didn't recognize you one time. You're so dark, but so the whole concept that the coloring of my skin has anything to do with anything I'm doing is ridiculous. Now, what isn't ridiculous is the culture that we live in. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
I I feel like if you experience certain things and you live a certain way, you're gonna feel what those people feel. You know what I mean? It's the culture in which we grow up in. I didn't grow up in the streets. You know what I mean? I'm a black man, but I didn't grow up in the streets. So some in the streets culture, I don't. I'm you know I'm oblivious to. But the same with somebody who didn't grow up in my environment. You know what I mean? It's hard. You have to sit back and realize that it has nothing to do. And it and what I'm saying is that it's that in life it has nothing to do with the color of your skin. You shouldn't judge people by the color of their skin, and that's so. You might not like somebody's culture, some of the shit that some of the things that they do. You know what I mean? But that's that. It doesn't have anything to do with the color of your skin. I mean,
Let's
there's a
talk
lot of
about
black. There's a lot. There's
let's
a
talk
lot of
about
black people I don't like. You know what I mean? There's a lot of black people I don't like. It's just a matter of the culture that we grew up in. You know?
let's talk about George Floyd, Daryl. So George Floyd, one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever seen is as he was being murdered, he cried out to his deceased mother. And anybody with a pulse, any human being who has a heartbeat that didn't feel a certain way when they saw that, really, you're going to have to check them to make sure that they're a human being.
Yeah.
And, here in Pittsburgh in Squirrel Hill, in a synagogue not far from my house, less than 2 years ago, a white supremacist walked into a synagogue and murdered 11 beautiful souls. And, in the Jewish community, when somebody passes away, especially in a way like that, there's a saying that, speak these people's names often, not in the murder. I don't even remember his name, but the souls that we lost. And I would say the same thing about George Floyd. Speak his name often. Remember what happened to him behind that police car that day on that Minneapolis street. And the reason that you do that is not just to honor his memory, but to help ensure that never happens again.
See, that's a beautiful thing, though. You know what I mean? That's a great thing. That's a great thing to believe in, you know? It's just
And
because, you know, like you're saying the synagogue, but a few months earlier, the same kind of racists walked in the church down in South Carolina and just, you know,
I know. I know.
and you know,
All
the
right,
world.
all right. I'd like to get some comments and some questions from our viewers. Let's enter your comments so we can talk about them here. I want to ask you a question, Daryl, about what's been going on the streets of America these last 8-10 days, right? So, you know, it's my belief that the vast majority of folks that are out there, black, white, whatever they may be, I've seen people of all walks of life, all races, creeds, you know, what have you. I really believe the majority of them are good people that are trying to make change happen. There
Gotcha.
are
Yeah, true.
there are other elements there, right? There are
True,
some
true.
folks who have been opportunistic.
Definitely.
There have been some outside influences, whether it be on the left or the right side of things. You know, it gets a little political there, but we've seen stories of bricks being planted in an area where there's you know what's going on there. But you know, I do know that when unrest erupts and riots erupt, it reminds me of this MLK quote that, you know, riot is the language of the unheard. In other words, for decades and decades, we've been screaming out that there's something wrong going on here, and sometimes there's no other way to get attention of other people. What do you think about that?
I think that's true, really. Because how else you going to get? I mean, you know, I used to be a social worker, and it's funny because I just work for the welfare department, and you know, the people that make the most noise are the ones that get the results. Sometimes we like to sit back and like, okay, it's I'll be polite and I'll be kind, and we'll see where we go with this, and you know, and but you know what I'm saying, the emptiest cars make the most noise. You know,
Yeah.
you get results when you're making noise. They're like, let's get this person out of here, or let's see what they're talking about. Let's take care of this. So you know.
All right. I want to show you a picture, Daryl. I don't want to give you any heads up as to what the picture is, but I want you to give me your immediate reaction, how it makes you feel when you see this picture. I want your 100%. I know you won't give me anything, but your honest reaction when you see this picture. You ready?
Yeah. Ah, man, that is.
What do you think? What's your in me? How's that make you feel right away?
That makes me feel like I don't want to. I'm not going to elect Trump again. That's for sure. Make America great again. Make America great. I mean, you know what I mean. I don't know. It's Trump. It feels like Trump. It almost that in itself almost feels racist. You know what I mean? You know,
All right.
just his attitude and his approach to things, and then you have people that back that up and represent that. That's horrible as well. You know what I mean? I think Trump's
the reason why I wanted to show you that and get your reaction is I'm really not trying to make a political statement one way or the other, but I wanted to show the viewers who may not understand that image evokes real reactions from people.
Definitely.
And so my point of view is that, you know, regardless of your political leaning, we really need leaders in our country that everybody can get behind, right?
Definitely. You're absolutely correct.
And it saddens me that a group of people, when they see that, immediately feels a certain way. And, you know, I don't know. It just saddens me. So that brings me to the next subject. Now, this is a subject that, you know, is taboo for most. But, you know, the crazy thing is me and you have these conversations all the time. The only difference is the world is watching at the moment here. So I want to talk about the N-word.
Okay.
So when I hear a white person say the N-word, it makes me feel dirty. It makes me feel like I want to speak up and tell them I don't like that. I don't want to hear that. It makes me feel that there's hatred in the immediate vicinity of me. And I know when black people say the N-word, it means something often very different. So
Right.
yesterday I heard a very eloquent young African American explain it this way. He said, when a white person says that word, it conjures up hundreds of years of hatred. But when a black person says it to another black person, it's basically a term of endearment. Your thoughts?
To a certain degree, it's true. You know what I mean? A lot of times, and you know, words evolve and things evolve with people. Man, when I hear white people say it, it kind of rake up my back. You know what I'm saying? But I went to St. Charles, so I heard a lot of people say it a whole lot of times. But it's a rake up your back. And here's the thing: I always say words with venom are the things. So we can change that word. I'm hearing what's the leprechaun in the hood, and then instead of saying he would say my ninja. Man, it's the same word. It's the same word, means the same thing. So you see what I'm saying? The connotation behind it, the venom behind it, what you're bringing with that word. You know, I don't think it's all right that we just spew the word out all the time and say it. It's comparable to the word bitch and women. You know what I'm saying? Some women don't take that word at all. They don't like that word. Don't call me that. Same thing with black people. Definitely a man cannot walk up to a woman that he doesn't know and call her a bitch. Okay? If they have a relationship and they're laughing and joking, that's a word they use, that's fine. But you as a man, you can't just go up and call women bitches. These bitches, you know, that's not going to flow. Nobody's going to be happy about that. Even if they do use that word and play with each other, it means something different when it comes out my mouth and your mouth and any other man's mouth. But women call each other that all the time. And even some women don't like women calling them that. You know what I mean? But it's become that word. It's become that word that people use. You almost don't even think about it. But if you compare that word, if you compare bitch to the N word, compare bitch to nigga, it's almost in the same category. But with the word nigga, it holds so much weight. It holds so much negativity. You know what I mean?
I get so
uncomfortable. And it always has.
I get uncomfortable even when you're saying it right now. So let's not give it too much energy here.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
And you know what? I generally don't say I really don't say it around white people. It's not a word for that type of discussion.
For a long time. You're not one to throw that word around. All right, let's move on. This is a famous picture from, I don't know I know, Daryl, you think with me everything comes back to Pittsburgh, but you do know Mr. Rogers is from Pittsburgh.
Down there, Squirrel Hill.
Yep, right. He was born in Latrobe, PA, but he spent most of his adult life here in Squirrel Hill. So this is a picture from 1969 of him and Officer Clemens at a time when many community pools across America did not allow blacks and whites to share a pool at the same time. Right. So Mr. Rogers, as gentle as he was, my man was powerful in a lot of the things that he did. You know, he really understood how to make a statement. So on this show, Officer Clemens and Mr. Rogers took off their kicks and they both put their feet in the water, and it was a powerful statement at the time. Do you remember?
Definitely.
Have you ever seen this?
I've seen that before, but I don't think I remember seeing it on TV. But
all right, I want to ask you a question, okay? Because you know, you and I, whenever we talk, I know it's a safe space. We're out here right now, but as I started the show and I said, it's really important that we get to know people so we know what's in their heart. So right. when something goofy comes out of their mouth, we know they're not. So let me tell you, and I'm gonna put myself out there vulnerable right now, and I'm gonna tell you how my thought process goes. So I've seen this picture for many years, you know, again, Mr. Rogers, Pittsburgher. Right. I see this picture lately, and I look at Officer Clemens, and I said, my man looks like Dr. Ben Carson. And then I'm like, you can't say that, Doc. That's racist.
It is racist.
And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. That's not what's in my heart. He does look like Dr. Ben Carson. Is that racist of me to think that?
No, it's just that, you know, it makes you uncomfortable. You know, that you think that you would think that, but it's not. He does look like Ben Carson.
Yeah. Let's look at him again.
Look at him.
All right.
Look at him. Yeah, that's
All right.
him. That is Ben.
All right.
No,
Let's
no,
look
but
at-
if somebody were to look like somebody, there's nothing wrong with making that comparison or saying that's who they look like. I mean,
1973. Archie Bunker, All in the Family. Now, what I love about this cover is you see Lionel Jefferson, George's son, and Lionel has that grin. And what's beautiful about Lionel's grin is, Lionel was a lot smarter than Archie on the show. And Lionel knew how to mess with Archie and to really have Archie continue to dig himself a deeper hole all the time.
Right.
And what people don't realize about this show, I think most people do now, but the show was really about making fun of Archie's ignorance, right?
Exactly.
And were you a All in the Family fan?
Heck yeah. I watched all of it. I seen every episode. I seen the one where Sammy Davis kissed him.
I remember that. I love that episode.
I love that.
Now, on a side note, when the Jeffersons were moving on up, there I go singing again, and they got their own show with a deluxe apartment in the sky, and then like in episode 3, they changed Lionel's on us.
Yeah.
You can't be changing Lionel's on us, right?
Man. Yeah, that other Lionel, he didn't fit the same. That's like them changing the aunt on the Fresh Prince.
Yeah, right.
Totally different. Right. And the whole attitude, the whole characterization thing is so different once you change it,
Right. Daryl, I remember when we were at school, you taught me something that I wasn't aware of, and I loved it. You and I would be walking down the street, and you would see another black dude, and you'd give him the nod, right? And you get the nod back, and you know me, man. I'm always asking a million questions. I'm up in your grill, tell me. And you kind of explained to me. It was pretty obvious that it was like, no, I don't know the brother, but I know that we had similar challenges and we come from a similar space, so we can respect each other. And I got your back, you got my back. And white people don't do that. You don't see white people walking down the street giving each other the nod. And I can tell you, and you've seen this with me, there's been times where I've been with you and we see a black person like, Daryl, I'm going to see if the nod works for me. And every once in a while, get the nod back, but it doesn't work the same way.
I'm like, who the hell is this?
Who the hell is this dude trying to give me the nod, man? I appreciate that. All right. I want to talk about one more thing with you, Daryl.
What's that, man?
You are a chef in a nursing home.
Yeah.
You're essential. You never stopped working through all this, right?
Nah.
So tell us what your experience has been there. First of all, thank you. It's pretty courageous to show up in a nursing home every day during the Crow-Nizzle. What's that been like?
You know what? I feel like this. My dad's still alive, and if he had to be someplace, I sure will. If he was someplace, I'd want somebody to do their best to take care of him. It's scary, you know what I mean? But I think this nursing home is one of the safest places. They scan everybody every time you go in and out the door. You know what I mean? It's it is scary, but you gotta. Those people been on this earth all this time, and what a way not to I respect everybody that made it through these challenges of life that we go through. We go through some hell of a challenges, and some of them were way worse than mine. Even white, black, it makes no difference. It's a hard life, man.
I saw an interesting quote about the Crow-Nizzle and racism. What COVID and racism have in common is that people don't believe they exist if they haven't affected them personally. And I mean, isn't that true just about everything in life?
Yeah, that's true. Really. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, and it's funny because I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody that's got the coronavirus. So, but it's here and it's real. So, I gotta protect and help those less fortunate than myself. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. You know what I mean? That's the way this world's supposed to be, isn't it? And we're supposed to take care of people that can't take care of themselves, or help those, or help each other up, and that makes your day better. You know what I mean? You help people and it helps you. This world wasn't meant for us to be just me and mine, and me taking care of mine, and me getting mine. Because you know what? When you do, and if you don't have anybody with you, it's the loneliest place in the world. You know, and to live that life and to live all those years, and then you think somebody's tucking you away somewhere. Man, every day I cook the best I can. Every day, my motto is to make beautiful food that tastes good, and it's beautiful food that tastes good for these great people that live their lives. I mean, even if they were racist, you know what I mean? They're the ones that helped get me to where I am, for one way or another, good, bad, or indifferent. They got me where I am. You know what I mean? So,
I do.
it's a beautiful thing.
You know, when the virus first hit, all these companies in America would make these commercials, during these challenging times, and we're all in this together. Yeah, American Airlines, we're all in this together. Until my suitcase was 51 pounds, and you charged me $200 extra, right?
Exactly, right.
And then the last 8 to 10 days after George Floyd was murdered, in the last few days, there's been this crazy outcry on social media that if head coaches of sports teams or certain celebrities or athletes or companies didn't make the right statement, then they were being judged. And all of a sudden, there's been this flurry of these statements come out. Now, I never want to judge anyone's intentions, right? But I see all these CEOs making these, after much introspection, I realized that I have a lot more to learn, and I get it, and it's good. I'm not questioning them and all these companies with these commercials and these statements by these head coaches we stand behind and with and that's all good. But I wanted to show one because I kind of got a kick out of this, and it kind of sums it up. So just be leery of corporate America, right? Reebok puts out a statement. Without the black community, Reebok would not exist. America would not exist. We're not asking you to buy our shoes. We're asking you to walk in someone else's shoes, to stand in solidarity, to find our common ground of humanity. Who could argue with that? It's all good. Till you go up top. Free shipping on all orders. Free shipping on all orders. So, after all that,
just saying the right thing to make that money. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's crazy, man. The world. The world. That technology. To me, technology has done good things and has done bad things. You know what I'm saying? I think it's good that we are able to access such information so quickly as it regards to everybody. You know what I'm saying? But then it separates us. It separates us again. It's another dividing point within this ever dividing society. You know what I mean? I mean, it's once you get people together on one front, then they're going to fall apart on another, because as humans, we like what we like, and we like to be with what we like, and then it's always going to be against what somebody else is like. Let me say this one thing. One of my favorite episodes of Star Trek. I know you don't watch any Star Trek, but Frank Gorshin back in the day.
Frankie Gorshin from Peabody High School in Pittsburgh. Come on, man. I know Frankie Gorshin. Everything comes back to Pittsburgh, Daryl.
Oh my God. God, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, he went to high school with my dad.
Anywho.
The Riddler. He was the Riddler on the Batman.
Right. That's exactly who he was. But on this episode of Star Trek, there was a planet where they were cut down the middle. One side was black and the other side was white. And these two factions warred against each other. And they got on the ship. And Kirk was like, I don't know what's the difference between you two. He said, Can't you tell? And he's like, no, I can't tell. You look exactly alike. He said his black is on the right side, and my black is on the left side. I mean, right. You see what I'm saying? As ridiculous as it is, they're still going to find some difference. There's going to be some difference that's going to divide. You have to look beyond that and look beyond people, and you have to look at the individual, the person, and what you have in common. Imagine this. Like we were talking about football earlier, or we mentioned football, but on the Steelers against the Browns. I don't care if there's $100,000 a year lawyer who's a Browns fan. He is in line with the guy that works at Sunoco gas station, and they show up every week in that Browns outfit. Same thing with Pittsburgh. But will fight you to the death over this Pittsburgh thing. You know what I mean? Over being a Pittsburgh Steeler or a Browns fan. Or we're Browns fans over here. They don't have anything else in common but the fact that they're Browns fans. You see what I'm saying? But they will. But they'll fight. They'll fight this Pittsburgh fan to death. You know, and that fits in every category of life. That fits into everything. You know,
I don't have the picture here to show you, but I saw earlier today that there was a picture of the Browns trophy case and it was empty, and it said it looked like somebody looted the Browns.
If you don't stop,
wait a minute. Oh no, they didn't. That's just, there was nothing there.
If you don't stop, man. When the Browns win, you're really gonna be. When the Browns win their Super Bowl, you're really gonna be heartbroken.
Hey, hang tight one minute there, Daryl. I wanna hype what I got going on next week here.
Okay.
Next Tuesday night, I have my good friend Elizabeth Statlander, who has her own show called Liz Live. Liz is a marriage and family therapist, and she's an all-around therapist, and she is just tremendous. We are going to be talking with Liz about everything that's happening in our world and how that affects our mental health and how we're going to deal with it. And then next Thursday, we have on my good friend, Father Terry O'Connor. And Terry's one of the best dudes I know. I know you're thinking, the Jewish dude has on the father. You know, that's the way Pittsburgh is. We're one big melting pot. Father Terry is the son of former Pittsburgh Mayor Bob O'Connor. He has an incredibly unique perspective on Pittsburgh, on diversity. If you know his story, you understand where that's coming from. And we're going to talk about everything imaginable under the sun with Father Terry. That is next Thursday.
That's cool as hell.
Big D, I want you to be watching, and I hope that you will come on the show with me again, my man.
Always, man. Always. You're my man. We go back like, I don't know. There's so many locals, but I can't say, you know. But me and you go all the way back. 8 million stories.
Thick as thieves, my man.
Thick as thieves. There you go.
We'll get together soon. Thanks for coming on, D.
All right, man. Thanks, man. I love you.
I love you, too. You're the best. Thanks, everybody, for watching. See you on Tuesday. Bye-bye.